Okay, so next up for the presentations, we're going to have Anusha Selvakumar. She will be presenting an overview of their journey in implementing supplier management, the challenges seen at the startup of using the new tool, understanding what is needed, and the support from Omnex to overcome the issues that they faced. She's the supplier development manager at Neuro. She's managing AV hardware, sensors, and vehicles, and has over 16 years of experience in various quality roles across industries including tech, medical devices, oil and gas, robotics, and contract manufacturing. She also has a master's in mechanical engineering. So Anusha, please come and present your presentation.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about our journey here today. It's nice seeing everyone here. Let me get started and talk about, Neuro as a startup, what our challenges were, and how we came about to set up the supplier management system, and walk you guys through it and how Omnex has helped us with this whole process. So for us, Neuro, we are on a mission to make everyday life better with robotics. So we are a startup. We're only like 6 years. About 7 years now. And we are also in the race for autonomy. And though we are not doing passenger, we're doing like goods, we're still in the same space. And we do want to establish how good our autonomy is compared to like Cruise or Zoox or, Kodiak and all these different people who are there in the space. And this is our third generation vehicle, and we have partnership with like Domino's, where we are doing some amount of delivery in a smaller waffle place, a waffle layout in Houston. And as you can see, it's mainly to deliver goods curbside. And we started with our first gen, which is our prototype vehicle, and we are right now using our third gen. And we have been, I guess, growing and maturing as a company to establish how we are and kind of going to 45 miles per hour. We do not do it on freeways. We're primarily on internal, streets only. And we are trying to get better to get to that space, which is where autonomy matures. And being in the hardware portion in a company that primarily focuses on the autonomy is, for us, the customer is the autonomy, software engineers. And we want to ensure that the product we give them is robust. So right now, what if you're able to trust the autonomy system? And what if you're able to be sure that the quality of the hardware is pretty consistent? You're able to take autonomous, vehicles, whether to move from location to location. So for me, the primary focus was to establish a way where we can capture all these failures that's related to our hardware and make it as a single source of truth to be able to support us. So that's kind of where we started, and that's how we establish our scope to say that, hey, we want to establish a system which is a single source of truth as we communicate with our vendors and have a clear way where we can document and capture all the issues that we've been seeing. And as we started our partnership with Omnex in 2021, it was through the pandemic, and we were also trying to scale. So it was very critical that we had a partner that understood the challenges on working with a startup and what our scope was and what it takes to scale during this time. So as we kicked off, one of the key things we wanted to identify was, hey, for our project, we needed like 4 different components. One was, ensuring that we identified various different partners that we could potentially engage with and to set up this supply management system and work with our internal leadership team as well as our legal and IT team to be able to support us for this. Since it's a very new space and IP was really critical, and that's why legal team had a huge responsibility in approvals. And once we had that, signed off and we had support, the next phase was to identify what our requirements were and what are the different processes we needed to have, what are the gaps that's currently in our company, and what are the different approvals from different teams that we needed. and working with our IT to be able to support us as we set this up. And through this, we also wanted to ensure that our partner is able to provide sufficient training, not just for us, but also for our external suppliers, our partners, and take us through launch towards production. So as you can see, we tried to develop a timeline to say like, hey, through the different phases, how we want it, who are the key teams that needs to be involved, how we want our supplier portal partner to engage with our IT and internal teams to be able to support us through this, and continue to provide ongoing support as we launch our program. So some of the key challenges and risks that we did have was we had a global supplier base and we had no document. I guess it's not really document control if you're using Google Drives or Box with different suppliers and attachments via email and suppliers network drives. So it was all over the place. We were doing different ways of how we were communicating between different teams, in fact. And we had some processes, but not everything was clearly defined and established. And we had multiple points of contacts for various suppliers as well as internal teams, which is really confusing and redundant in a lot of cases. And it was also difficult for us to define metrics, like, if you had scars or issues with suppliers, it was via either email or Word attachments via email. So it was very manual and it was very hard for us to track, which supplier was providing scars and how we were going to document it. And the other challenge we had was having a clear expectations between our IT team and how we wanted it set up and what kind of access we wanted to provide our external vendors. And as a startup, one of the key issues we did face was constantly changing teams or support that we do get from cross-functional teams, because as people move about or different changes happen with different priorities, we might not get the support that we expect to get. And within this, that also leads to changing scope and implementation schedules. So with all of these different challenges, we wanted to consider a good partner that is able to, understand the scope and be able to support us. So we wanted to make sure that this partner is able to provide a single system that has, APQP platform on it, change control, way to document scars and audits, and pretty much help us setting it up ground up. And be able to work with a startup where we have nothing and everything is pretty new and has to be completely built from scratch, and have a continuous engagement with our IT team, because again, everything is new. We don't anticipate firewalls or issues that we have, and be able to communicate that clearly. And as we evolve, be able to develop a dashboard that is able to capture our requirements and priorities and showcase it in such a way we're able to learn and grow from it. So once we had those risks and challenges identified, we went about selecting the team and key people who needed to be involved and engaged in this process. And for us internally, we had our SD team, the GSM, NPI hardware, TPM, as well as a PLM ERP systems, and these various different functional teams that had to be engaged with Omnex in this case. And once we had that, we started putting the business requirements for us as we sought a management approval and support with the different modules that we wanted to be implemented. And once we went out, scoped out, we talked to different vendors, and then Omnex was one of them. And then we started streamlining with these different vendors to have different demos and work through with our teams and ensure that they were able to support our requirements that we had, and also be able to have a web-based system that provided access to global vendors in different parts of Asia and also Europe. and work with our IT team and customize the solutions that's provided to Neuro. And as we came about and we kind of picked Omnex, they had all the solutions that we were looking for and were able to customize it to our needs. Not just, to say like, hey, we have all these different platforms, but to be able to engage with us and support us as we implemented and developed all these modules. And it kind of helped us to launch and set a lot of these different processes that were missing. And what really improved for us in the APQP and the PPAP space and the module was we were able to have a cloud access for all our different vendors in different parts of Asia and be able to still hold these documents in our internal server and not AWS, which typically how Omnex does. So they were able to customize it to our needs and be able to support us with our requirements, with whatever changes that our IT team requested. And similarly with SCARS, having a standard platform where we were able to document all these failures and issues that we've been seeing with our vendors, we were able to start generating metrics and following up with the open action items and to see if we were able to close it in a timely manner. And change control was another huge portion that we were talking about and we're looking to implement, was how we wanted to track it because it was done very manually for us. And similarly for the supplier audit, because we, again, had no AVL, we had no criteria, and it was important that we start developing a supplier qualification process. And one of the things they could really support us with, they put an option to complete an online self-assessment. So with our requirements and new suppliers could still get on site, fill up this form, and then they still don't have to the full portal, but just part of it, just to complete this form. And the other key things was a single sign-on that helped us, since we already had that established with other internal systems, it helped us integrate and then use it for the Omnex portal as well, which helped people like really get on faster and be able to access the portal. And having training for both internal and external teams really helped us have a good session where we were able to ask any questions, and it was very supportive in terms of having everyone understand how the portal is and the usage. And Omnex was able to give us like documentation for each of these, so they were able to always go back and refer as well. And they also had regional support for our teams that were located in different parts, which was really, really great. And for our suppliers, this was really, really good because as a startup, we do have resource constraints and a lot of redundancy. So it was helping streamline a lot of these priorities and understand like, hey, these are the key requirements, key milestones and due dates. And that really helped our suppliers get more efficient in terms of like deliverables and what was expected. And it also gave us good access to our team in Asia. Initially, when they had issues with firewall, they were able to access it, and the communication was way better and faster. And of course, having the opportunity to complete the self-audit online helped us evaluate the suppliers faster, because otherwise we were doing it via Excel, and they were shared as attachments via email. And another key advantage that we did see was having being able to have access, in the preferred language, which kind of encourages suppliers to use it easily and be able to support us. Some of the things where we saw as opportunities for improvement was, working in a startup, we have various different challenges. A lot of times it's very unexpected, and having that awareness and being able to engage with us early on and identifying some of the areas where some of the processes were missing and helping us navigate to identify these gaps and be able to define these processes really helped us. And those are things we are looking to keep improving on as we move and want to launch this in the larger scope. And the other areas we do want to leverage Omnex help is getting their inputs as they work with other customers, and how we can better leverage some of these existing templates like shared in our previous presentations, and customize it for us. And the other thing that we thought will be really good, as we have like change control as part of the whole supplier management, because as we just set up that module, it would really help us because we don't have a set development process where you just have EVT, DVT, PVT build. A lot of times it goes from EVT 1 to 2 to 3 in just the EVT scope. So we have a lot of changes that happens within that development life cycle. And this is it takes quite a bit of iterations before we even get to mass production. And being able to have that and support us with the constant changes really helps. So as next steps, what we are looking forward to is to have Aqua Pro integrated and be able to reduce our development times and increase our efficiency and capture all these issues prior. And the other thing we want to use is utilize the metrics to implement lessons learned from the platform, and provide feedback to our engineering teams to be able to integrate it for the next gen products. And this has really improved our management of the supplier base, and I'm hoping that we can continue to leverage the tool with the new changes that's coming about and be able to expand our scope. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of our journey and where we are at now. Thank you so much.